Britain and France had agreed to launch a major joint offensive in summer 1916 at the Somme River region. The goal was to break German lines and relieve pressure on the French at Verdun. Britain had been mainly defensive during 1915, so this was the first major offence they had planned. The French had their hands full at Verdun, so could not contribute many troops at the Somme, so this ended up being a British-led assault. The opposing trenches were separated by an open, unoccupied area around 100 to 300 meters wide. This area was known as No Man's Land, which was filled with barbed wire, landmines, and traps. This area was exposed to machine guns, snipers, and artillery. Entering this area in daylight meant an almost certain death. On the 24th of June 1916, the British launched a 7-day artillery bombardment against the German trenches, firing over 1.5 million shells. They aimed to destroy the German barbed wire, flatten the trench systems, and kill the defenders. This would then pave the way for their infantry to advance with little resistance, at least so they thought. However, half of the shells fired were duds. They did not explode. The British underestimated the depths of the German trenches, which went 30 plus feet underground. As a result, many Germans survived the shelling. On July 1st, 1916, the British artillery stopped firing at around 7:30 am. A few moments later, thousands of troops went over the top, across no man's land, to the German trenches. To their horror, the Germans were still well organized, prepared, and used concentrated machine gun fire to mow down the advancing British army. Over 19,000 British soldiers were killed that day, marking the worst day in British military history. The battle continued for a further 4 months. The British Army were the first military in the world to launch tanks into warfare during this battle. They could withstand rifles and machine gun fire, but were vulnerable to artillery. The tanks proved ineffective. They often broke down or got stuck in the muddy terrain. The battle ended in November 1916 due to exhaustion from both sides. There was no major breakthrough on either side here, similar to Verdun. This was the bloodiest battle of World War I, with over 1 million casualties from both sides.